Hello and God bless. Welcome to our April 5th edition of New Mercies. Today is the Monday in the octave of Easter. Let's begin by acknowledging the Lord's acts of mercy are not exhausted, His compassion is not spent. They are renewed for us each morning. I'd like to focus today on the Acts of the Apostles, our first reading. As the church begins to celebrate Easter, it also begins to give us the readings from the Acts of the Apostles beginning on the day of Pentecost. And I thought it was very interesting to put this reading next to Easter. He says in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verses 14 to 33. On the day of Pentecost, Peter stood up with the 11, raised his voice, and proclaimed, "You who are Jews, indeed all of you staying in Jerusalem, let this be known to you and listen to my words. You are children of Israel. Hear these words. Jesus the Nazarene was a man commended to you by God with mighty deeds, wonders, and signs, which God worked through him in our midst, as you yourself know. This man delivered up by the set plan and foreknowledge of God, you killed, using lawless men to crucify him. But God raised him up, releasing him from the throes of death, because it was impossible for him to be held by it. For David said of him, I saw the Lord ever before me. With him at my right hand, I shall not be disturbed. Therefore my heart has been glad, and my tongue has exulted. My flesh too will dwell in hope, because you will not abandon my soul to the netherworld, nor will you suffer your Holy One to see corruption. You have made known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. My brothers, one can confidently say to you about the patriarch David, that he died and was buried, and his tomb is in our midst to this day. But since he was a prophet and knew that God had sworn an oath to him, that he would set one of his descendants upon his throne, he foresaw and spoke of the resurrection of the Christ, that neither was he abandoned to the netherworld, nor did his flesh see corruption. God raised this Jesus. Of this we are all witnesses. Exalted at the right hand of God, he poured forth the promise of the Holy Spirit that he received from the Father, as you both see and hear here. On this feast of Easter, Peter gives an account to the Jewish people on Pentecost of what they are to believe. And recently I read a book called Unveiled Love by Dr. Edward Sri, and he begins his book with the following quote. If you were to walk into a coffee shop and randomly ask people, what does the Catholic Church stand for? What kind of response do you think people would receive? Some people might talk about the rituals of the Catholic faith. Others might mention the Pope or the Blessed Virgin Mary. A large number probably would focus on a controversial moral issue of our day. The Catholic Church is against abortion, against contraception, against gay marriage. Few, however, would get to the heart of the gospel and say, the Catholic Church stands for a God who is madly in love with you, who has a plan for you, and wants you to be happy. The God who even sent his Son, Jesus Christ, to die for you, who wants to forgive you and help you in your life, and who, most of all, wants an intimate, personal relationship with you, so that you can be with him forever in heaven. We look at today's reading, and I think it's important that it follows Easter, because Peter does not dismiss what the people did to Christ, but he points out that God's love is even greater than that. And so today, let's ask God for the grace not to go around dismissing evils in our world today, but rather focusing more on God's power to overcome those, and how great God's love is for us. May Jesus Christ be praised, now and forever.